Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea Utek, speculative fiction writer, and today we are getting ready for everyone's favorite time of the year, National Novel Writing Month. I think I have an applause for this. There it is. The first thing that you need to do is try to convince yourself that it is indeed October. I'm trying to convince myself by wearing a scarf I've been dying to wear and drinking tea. It's not working. It is 85 degrees outside. Some people are planners, meaning that they plan out their novel ahead of time, probably even write an outline. Some people are pantsers. It's never been my favorite term. It's not my term, but it means that they fly by the seat of their pants and they just write with abandon, I think, as NaNoWriMo intended it. I myself am a planner and then a replanner. And then I throw it all out because my characters didn't do what I wanted them to do and plan it one more time. I'm going to walk you through my process as a speculative fiction writer. It will be in maybe a different order than if you wrote in a different genre. Now, speculative fiction includes sci-fi, fantasy, horror, alternative historical fiction, and anything else where the what if goes beyond just standard fiction. The what if is really ingrained in the world building. Because of that, I might plan it in a slightly different order. So the order in which I'm going to plan these is going to be to brainstorm, to come up with my setting and my hook, explore my characters, and then finally to plot. This week I'm going to start with brainstorming. I have several habits that mean that I don't usually sit down to actively brainstorm. I like to keep a journal on me at all times. This is my current one. Sticky notes stuck right on it. I also keep sticky notes on me at all times. The last novel I wrote, the idea really just came to me in a very groggy state first thing in the morning, but because I had my journal at hand, as it constantly is, I was able to jot it down and then flesh out the idea. And it really just came to me in that I woke up and I had this very emotional moment where I realized how much I loved my life, but in my grogginess I thought, like, what if this is the dream? What if I'm not coming out of that dream? So this very small seed of an idea became the what if for the speculative fiction. And so it followed characters who were taken out of such dreams, these dreams they lived in for so long that they thought it was their real life. And then I developed the world from here. And the one I'm currently working on, I came up with on my honeymoon. I very romantically looked at my husband and said, I just finished my last novel and I need you to help me figure out how I'm going to destroy the world next time. So perhaps the seed of my idea that I'm coming up with is not coming from these brainstorm activities that I'm going to share with you. However, some of the plot points and exploring my characters more deeply will. So I'm still using these brainstorming activities, and you can use them in even an earlier stage of your writing. The other thing I do to avoid too much active brainstorming is I have a close friend. I also have a husband. Basically people who can't get away from me anymore. It can be a dog, it can be a parent, someone who is obligated to be near you, and I talk their ear off. My poor husband knows every single plot point of my novel that is upcoming that has been thrown out. There are very few surprises in my novel left for him, but he is a sounding board that I can talk to. I also really love that my friends and my husband and my family all have a variety of knowledge, so they can ask questions and challenge me a little bit more on some of my plot points. Okay, without further ado, let's just jump into my brainstorming activities. The first thing that we have is lists, and I don't know if you're rolling your eyes like I rolled my eyes at a list. However, just a simple list of nouns. My teacher actually told me to write down good nouns. What does that good noun mean? So I was trying to discern like good nouns versus bad nouns, and what I actually came up with was, oh, these nouns are better. There is more to them. So what I recommend is starting a blank page and just writing down a list of nouns, a list of fears, a list of places, a list of names of people and see what it ends up sparking. As silly as this seems, when I started my list of nouns, it was the 4th noun on the list that actually gave me an idea for something I was going to write. Another thing that I recommend, you don't have to get these things that I recommend exactly. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I really love them. I have 3 sets of Rory's story cubes. You might be thinking to yourself, that's too many. That's exactly what my students say. But these are really excellent. You can take them. I have the standard, voyages, and the actions. I kind of want the other ones, although it's probably enough story cubes. You take them and you can roll them and try to make a story out of what is laid down in front of you. I find it really, really satisfying to find ways to connect it, or if I get stuck in part of my story or in part of my outlining process, I'll roll these and see what sparks. Of course, that doesn't mean whatever you roll, you're not obligated to use what you have there, but these are really good for getting unstuck. Another one that I have that I only got last year, but I adore is this writer emergency pack. So there are different games in it, but the most useful one, what I find most useful is you can pull out a card and it has a prompt for something that you can do in your story. Usually what happens is that doesn't actually work in my story. This, I've just drawn puny humans. Sometimes it really is the end of the world. How would your story change if the stakes were cataclysmic? So aliens don't have to show up, but what if the stakes were higher? And maybe you don't end up using what you have, but just doing a quick write with some of these can help to spark something. Or you even lay out a couple in a row and it helps you to make a story. So I really like this one as well. And can you see I went on a writing shopping spree? I also have my writer's toolbox. This one is so fun. There's so much in here. I'm not going to do it like a commercial for this, but there are several different things you can do, and my favorite one is this is at the beginning of a story and you have options for protagonist, action, goals, and obstacles, and you just spin it in order to get a random one, and you can put together a story, a weirdly specific story, like oh, these characters are named. So I wouldn't use it exactly, but it really has gotten me some ideas in the past, and there are lots of different games in there. I'm gonna link that. I'm not trying to sell you anything, I promise, but just the process of going through something random, or just use the one I laid out on the screen right now. Does that spark anything within you? Okay, my last piece of advice, and this is advice I have to give myself because I'm actually really terrible at it, is to write your back cover copy. I don't know why I'm so stuck on it. I'm just picking a random one. But reading this back cover copy and trying to write it before you even write your story really helps to narrow in your focus. So you can read this and then just take out the content words. So I will, in the description, I will take this one or a couple of them, and I'm going to give you your own ad lib to put together. Try that out if nothing else is working. That's really great advice, because if you ever finish this novel you're writing, you will finish this novel if you set out to. I believe in you. But if you ever want to get your novel published, you're going to have to be able to write your back cover copy. I'm saying to you, and I'm also saying to myself. Anyway, let me put some of those things down below. Please check out the description, and good luck on your brainstorming. Next time I will talk a little bit about world building and finding that hook for your novel. Until then, happy writing.